A very special telecast right here on ET Now. The exit polls, also how the market is likely to react, and what does the early trends of the exit poll actually tell you? Which direction could the actual results, the poll results, could actually throw up battle for 2024? I'm Ajay Sharma, along with me Sumita Karir, my colleague from New Delhi. We've got a battery of specialists and very senior people in the market and from the economy. We have Swaminathan Ankleshwar Iyer, our consulting editor. We have R. Jagannathan as well, also popularly known as Jaggi, of course, editorial director at Swarajya. Bibek Debroy would also shortly join us. And for a market perspective, we are joined by Vikas Khemani of Carnelian Capital. Pooja Mehra is also joining us for this analysis. And of course, our managing editor, Nikunj Dalmia as well. Let me start with you, Swami. First of all of you, thank you very much for joining us on this show. Your inputs and analysis is highly appreciated. The market is not working today, but I must tell you, we have been getting hundreds of messages on our Twitter handle, and people are wanting eagerly analysis of how things could actually take shape. Thank you very much for your time. Swami, the early trends, the direction, clearly exit poll is not a very exact science, but at least it tells you about the direction things could take shape. What is your assessment so far?
Okay, let me say that exit polls are not only not very accurate, but they differ from one another and from the actual outcome, and in some cases quite significantly. Not only in India, in other countries too. I remember John Kerry was supposed to be beating George Bush in the exit polls, and that turned out not to be the case. Or Hillary was supposed to be beating Bush, and it didn't happen that way. So there are serious questions as to how accurate it is. And we will actually know a few days from now. But from what our particular opinion poll says, it is in effect saying that it is a continuation. The kind of strength on both sides is roughly the same. If that is the case, then it will be a triumph for Mr. Modi. Because there were a large number of people, including the betting at Phalodi, the betting center, which was suggesting a very significant erosion of the BJP vote. Our particular opinion poll is saying that things are going to be much the same. The Congress will be where it is, the BJP will be where it is, in which case it will be a triumph for the BJP, it will be a triumph for Mr. Modi personally. And the manifesto had basically said more of the same. It was not promising radical changes of any kind. It was saying we've done such a good job, we are going to continue doing these things. And I think that is what we are going to see. So I think that will be the case as far as the market is concerned. I think it will be reasonably happy with what's happening. There are, if there had been a sharp fall in the Modi vote, the market might have reacted badly. As things are, I think the market will do quite well.
The concern for the last 1 week, market has been very volatile. FII shorts have been at the highest we've seen in 12 years. Clearly, some reflection of the nervousness on the street, but we'll discuss that with Vikas as well. Jaggi, clearly, third time round, the anti-incumbency factor or that particular point to fight was very, very difficult, clearly. The intensity of fight put up by the opposition as well as the BJP faction was very high. In fact, it got even more, pretty aggressive in the last 1 week, and people are questioning on both sides the kind of commentary and dialogue which was coming in. But triumph for Mr. Modi and BJP, how much probability would you assign the final tally would show?
Yeah, I expect the results of 2019 to be roughly replicated this time, with the BJP reaching around 300 and allies getting another about 30 to 40 or 50 seats maximum. But this time, as in 2004, the key thing is some of the key allies are not doing that well. I'm told that some of the BJP's allies in Maharashtra, Bihar, are certainly struggling. Just in 2004, I think Vajpayee's allies in Andhra and Tamil Nadu did badly. So this time it is Bihar and Maharashtra, where the BJP itself is probably struggling, is not struggling, but let's say not doing as well as it seemed to do in the recent assembly polls, is probably Rajasthan and to some extent in Haryana. Elsewhere, I think it is doing pretty well. And in the south and in the east, it is making gains. That seems to be the general trend that all the exit polls are showing. And even some of the better exit polls like the Axis My India, India Today one, are showing large gains in the south for the BJP and in the east. So I think the market will be pretty happy that status quo is good enough, because there's not going to be any shock in terms of some very gross underperformance by the BJP. I think where they have lost, they have tried to make a gain in other areas. So this election, unlike the past, has been highly localized in many states. While the BJP faced anti-incumbency in some places in the north, seems to have benefited from anti-incumbency against the regional parties in the south and somewhere in the east. So I think overall net it is sort of held on to its gains. It will be somewhere around last time. So I think the market should be reasonably happy with this outcome, as Swami said, and I agree with him.
Right. Thanks, sir, for sharing your initial thoughts. And at this point in time, we also have the tweet of Prime Minister Modi coming on X. He says, and I quote, "I can say with confidence that the people of India have voted in record numbers to re-elect the NDA government. They've seen our track record in a manner in which our work has brought about a qualitative change in the lives of poor, marginalized and downtrodden." And that brings me to my next question, Pooja. Let me bring you in here. The Prime Minister, of course, is saying that it's been because of the kind of, change that the party has been able to make in the lives of poor, marginalized and downtrodden. What do you really attribute to some of these leads that these exit polls are showing, especially in Hindi heartland states like Gujarat, for instance? Rajasthan, of course, the BJP is doing a good show as well. In fact, even in Madhya Pradesh, where the party had just won assembly elections.
I'm sorry, I can't say anything on the exit polls. I don't follow exit polls or politics, but I think I share the sentiment expressed by both Swami and Jaggi, that if this is a vote for continuity, then what it probably means is that in the campaign, when we heard issues being raised of unemployment, jobs, Agniveer, temporary turning what was seen as permanent jobs in the armed forces into temporary jobs, prices of certain things such as gas cylinders, etc. All of that has had absolutely no impact on voting behavior. So we are seeing a disconnect between what the macro GDP numbers are showing us on consumption not growing as fast as aggregate GDP. All those things are not affecting voting behavior at all. That's all I can say. I can't really say about Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, etc. I don't follow politics.
Okay. So we'll have to, of course, then wait and watch out for the numbers on June 4th. At this point, let me also bring in Mr. Bibek Debroy, Chairman of the EAC PM New Delhi. Thank you very much, Mr. Debroy, for waiting very patiently. I want to get your comments on the fact that, and we've heard Swami sir and of course our other guests also speak about how the markets are expecting a continuity in terms of policies. A policy continuity is what the markets are expecting. We've also seen the Prime Minister along with the other cabinet ministers, other union ministers say that after June 4th, the investors are in for a good surprise in terms of how the markets will really perform. But let me ask you, what do you think the government is going to focus on in case it manages a clean sweep, in case it manages a third time?
Well, I think you'll have to wait till the 4th for an answer to that question. But let me quickly reiterate that while exit polls are not an exact science, if multiple exit polls are showing a similar trend, then that trend would tend to be robust. I would also like to say that in this particular case, unlike 2014 and 2019, what is likely to happen on the 4th is more an aggregate of what is happening at the level of individual states, local issues, aggregating up into the all-India picture rather than an all-India narrative. Of course, it's true that markets dislike discontinuity, they dislike uncertainty, and since the trends seem to suggest that the NDA government is going to come back with a fairly convincing majority, Clearly, the economic policies will be a continuation of the economic policies pursued in 2014 and 2019, obviously with tweaking. And markets and anyone interested in development and governance would generally welcome that.
Vivek, stay with us. Vikas Khemani is also joining us from Carnelian to talk about the market impact. Our chief editor, Nikunj Dalmia, is also here. Nikunj, let me come to you. You've been watching the early trends, which are the leads which are coming in on the exit poll front. What is your analysis? How market would respond to this?
The headline for everybody is that there is a vote for continuity. These are exit polls, but like Professor Debroy said, that if you look at the sum total of many exit polls, that looks like the ground reality is something which everybody can really reconcile with. Now, if one looks at the market reaction on Monday will certainly be very positive to the exit poll. And why just equity market? I think the bigger reaction could be there in the currency market and in the bond market. Let's not when equity markets, they go higher, it's great news. We all tend to get excited. But I think, frankly, the biggest story for me is in the bond market. The biggest story for me also will come in the currency market. So all those markets eventually would be reacting. Now, it's very, very strange if one looks at the market positioning. I'm talking about the pure near term here. The near term is that we all know that FI in the run-up to the election cycle, they were short. Domestic institutional investors are sitting on cash, and the retail positioning, at least in the last couple of days, was not all that long. So the markets may be at an all-time high, but the underlying participation in the market has not been extremely exciting. So what may happen is that you may see the immediate reaction on Monday itself. GST numbers are strong. Dow was up. So we are in for a big gap up start. From there, I think you will see FI short covering, especially in the FI-dominated stock, looking at the data what we have. What would be interesting to see that post-4th, what kind of inertia the markets will continue to generate on, because then the narrative would clearly move to the next 100 days or the first 100 days of the Modi 3.0. So I think that, in a sense, would be the new narrative which markets would focus on. I think from a market standpoint and the result reaction to exit polls, the market reaction will happen on Monday. Massive short covering, relief rally in some of the stocks, and maybe an extension of defense, railways, and that entire gambit, so to speak. So Monday would perhaps be the most exciting day of this year, so to speak, for an equity market, for a bond market, and even for the currency market. Ajay?
Thanks for that, Nikunj. Vikas, what is your take? There are 3 data points to react to. The GST number above 8, the GDP number above 8%, the strong GST number, and of course, the early leads in exit polls. From your market men's point of view, how do you think the reaction would be, and what's your personal take?
I think GDP has been going very strong. I think that we all know tax collection have been rising. I think every month after month that we've been seeing. Of course, the exit poll kind of gives one more thumbs up sign towards continuity, which probably some people started questioning in the recent last few weeks. Of course, I always believed that they will be between 350 to 400, and continuity is kind of given. So to some extent, you might see some short covering or a little bit of buying in early days. I think this will last probably 1 or 2 days, and then probably market will be back to normal because this is a vote for continuity, and once the initial euphoria and short covering happens, that can lead markets 2-3% higher, maybe a little bit more. But I guess then probably the market gets back to normal routine of looking back to fundamentals. And I do, of course, see one of the best wealth creation cycle in the markets ahead. And some of the skeptics who've been sitting on the sidelines probably start coming or would start coming in. And especially, I think foreign money would start coming in the second half of this year in far more chunk and size than it has come in the recent past.
Right, sir. And let me now go across to Swami, sir. So everybody's been really bullish about the fact that, of course, BJP is going to come back once again. We'll, of course, have to wait out for June 4th and the numbers, the final numbers and the tally that comes in. But I want to ask you about where could challenge really emerge for the BJP? Southern states, of course, a lot has been said about that. We'll eventually have to see how the vote percentage, how the seat number, the seat tally really comes in there. But what, according to you, could be the difficult points for the BJP, and where could challenge emerge for the party?
Getting into these at this point, when the actual results are going to come in for 2-3 days, I would hesitate. I would say that errors at the exit poll level, state-wise, are likely to be higher than at the national level. So I think getting into too much of that analysis is somewhat risky. But I think from the market point of view, the really good news is the GDP figures. The GDP figures tell you that India has consistently for the last 4 quarters beaten expectations. So if the GDP thing is doing well and the election result looks good, both together, I think that is going to be very positive. As far as there going to be any breaking point, let us wait for the actual results. I think on the basis of the exit poll, it would be very risky to predict what would be the critical points for the BJP.
In fact, we have some numbers coming in, although you've said that it's pretty risky to rely completely on exit polls, and we agree on that these are just some trends that multiple agencies have collated that perhaps give a direction into where the country is really headed. And of course, multiple polls are somewhere close to showing the same numbers. But of course, we also have to mention that this is also something that some of the brokerages, including IIFL and several others, have stated that the BJP will comfortably cross the 300 mark and there will be policy continuity, is something that we've heard investors over and over again come on ET Now and say that to us. At this point, let me also tell our viewers that Andhra Pradesh numbers, according to several exit polls, are in fact coming out where the BJP is expected, out of 25 seats, BJP is expected to get 21 seats, the Congress party 5 seats, and JDS 2. So let me go to you at this point, Pooja. Now, there have been several challenges, at least this is what the Congress party says, that the BJP will not be able to break into the southern fold, and South still remains a big challenge. What do you really make of this number, even though you've stated that you do not really completely rely on exit poll numbers? But if we were to rely on the numbers or the trends that are coming in, and of course from your own assessment, your own reading of the situation.
That I don't understand or know anything at all about exit polls or politics. I'm an economic journalist. I'm really sorry. I have absolutely no idea about Karnataka, etc. I'm not in a position to answer these questions. I was told that this is going to be a discussion on the economy.
Right. So we'll come back to you, Pooja. Let me take this question to Mr. Jagannathan. And Mr. Jagannathan, what do you really make of the numbers that at least exit polls are showing for the state of Andhra Pradesh?
Yeah, Andhra Pradesh, I think people are showing different results. One showing a defeat for the YSRPC, another one showing the victory for YSRP. I mean, if you look at the MP numbers, we don't know the state assembly trends. So we are still talking about Lok Sabha trends where some exit polls are given this side and the other side. So I think we need to wait for Andhra certainly for some more time before we take a call. But overall, I would say there are 2-3 things that seem likely. One is, regardless of the seat count, I think the BJP is likely to increase its overall national vote share because it is doing fairly well in the south, unlike what was expected earlier. And while it may lose a few seats in the north, especially in the Hildi belt due to wrong caste calculations or some kind of very localized anti-incumbency in some seats in Rajasthan, Haryana and Maharashtra probably, I think overall its vote share will probably rise above the 37% it got last time. And we don't know how it will translate to it. It will clearly be about 270, 280 clearly, and probably about 300. That's my expectation. And I think that's, I think the market will be happy if they cross 300. If they fall below 300, they'll be a little worried about, okay, there seems to be some opposition.
Right. Swami, let's shift focus. You've written about it. We'll not go in the nitty-gritties about it, but Jairam Ramesh made a comment that Dakshin mein saaf and Uttar mein half. But the early trends in Andhra, Telangana, Karnataka, even Kerala seem to be suggesting that BJP has done pretty decent. What are your thoughts on the issues on which BJP actually fought in some of the big southern states?
Well, I would say that the BJP has been slowly building up, and it has allies in all these states. It is not on its own. In Andhra Pradesh, it is no surprise that it has got this number of seats. In fact, I am surprised that they have not done better, because I had thought that TDP was on a very strong footing and Pawan Kalyan was a powerful ally as well. So I think there will be some disappointment as far as the BJP is concerned. But certainly the fact that it's got a few seats apparently in Kerala, if it gets some in Tamil Nadu, this would be a breakthrough. We need to look at the vote shares. How much is getting to the BJP, how much, yeah. But the BJP will be happy that it is no longer just a northern state. Karnataka, it has already been there for some time. Andhra Pradesh with TDP, it has also been there for some time. But a minor breakthrough both in Tamil Nadu and in Kerala would be satisfying. It is no big breakthrough. It doesn't change the big picture. The BJP remains overwhelmingly dependent on the north. But yes, there is some diversification, and that would be something to be happy about.
In fact, Delhi numbers are coming in and BJP is seen winning all 7 seats in Delhi, and AAP, of course, 0. Pooja, Swami and Jaggi, please stay with us. We'll take a 30-second break, come back and analyze this further on the other side.
It's a high-pressure situation, but he's keeping his cool. Breathes easy, and a ray of hope as he takes control to win the match. The most valuable player, champion of champions. The feature-loaded Nexon, India's #1 SUV for 3 years in a row. Price starts at 7.99 lakhs.
विंटेज लंदन टू हिस्टोरिक इटली टू अपना राजस्थान सब देखा।
अफोर्ड कैसे कर लेते हो, माइट?
अगोड़ा बुक नाउ एंड गेट अ लव राइड। पाइए कमाल के प्राइसेस अक्रॉस 3.9 मिलियन होटल्स एंड होमस्टेज। अगोड़ा दुनिया देखो कम दाम में।
We come to you about the Delhi performance. BJP seen winning all 7 states. I want to understand on a larger point. Delhi has been a tough nut to crack for BJP so far for a very long time. Do you think this time things could turn?
The BJP won all 7 seats last time and the time before. The huge difference that we see is between the parliamentary results and the state results. In the last 2 elections, the BJP made a clean sweep of the parliamentary seats. And then in the subsequent year, it got absolutely wiped out in the state election. On one occasion getting, I think, 3 seats, and on the other occasion getting just 8 seats out of 70. So the Delhi electorate is a sophisticated one and has very different views about whom it's going to vote for the parliamentary election and for the state election. So it is in favor of Mr. Kejriwal significantly as the leader of Delhi. But when it comes to the central election, obviously Mr. Kejriwal is not a candidate. The candidate there would appear to be Mr. Gandhi. And very clearly they prefer Mr. Modi to Mr. Gandhi quite massively. So I really congratulate the people of Delhi on having the sophistication to distinguish between the two. Some people do it in other states too, but I think Delhi's states, it has been quite remarkable. I warn the BJP that if it thinks, just because it has swept the 7 seats in parliament, if it thinks it's going to sweep the state election too, I would say beware. You were disappointed on the last 2 occasions. You may be disappointed once more.
Right, sir. An interesting comment coming from you. And now let me go across to Mr. Jaggi. Jaggi, sir, of course, it's a clean sweep for the BJP. At least that's what the exit polls are showing. We'll, of course, have to wait and watch out for the actual numbers. Last time around, it was the BJP, and this time as well, clearly states or indicates that there is no anti-incumbency as far as Delhi is concerned. Because the reason I'm asking this is because, Arvind Kejriwal of the Aam Aadmi Party, he did really try to project himself as some sort of a victim, and that was reflective in his politics as well. He was, of course, attacking the BJP on the fact that they are jailing all adversaries. He, of course, stated just 2-3 days back that they will jail all the other leaders of Aam Aadmi Party and other parties as well, and that does not really seem to have resonated with the people of Delhi. So what do you think has really worked?
No, I think this time there is a slight difference from 2014 and 2019, because both the Congress and the AAP have formed a front. They have seat allocations that are exclusive to the mutually exclusive. So there is the key thing we have to watch out for is whether the AAP voter will vote for the Congress where the Congress is standing, and the Congress voter will vote for AAP where it's standing. The other thing, the fact that Mr. Kejriwal was put in prison just before the election started, and that he was out after that, might impact things. My guess is there is probably, BJP will probably win definitely 6 out of 7 seats. 1 seat could be a tough fight, because I think there is some sense of unhappiness with the fact that an elected chief minister was sent to jail. Whatever the justification for it, I think people in India tend to have sympathy for anybody who goes to jail. Till he goes to jail, they may be against him, but after he goes to jail, they tend to be sympathetic to him. So I think Delhi, we should watch out for the last seat. 6 out of 7 is probably likely. 7th one might be a close fight.
Right. Swami, though you're saying that it could be a triumph for Mr. Modi, one point I want to talk to you about is the work from here on. If indeed this comes in the same direction, the actual result also comes in the same direction. Mr. Modi has been at various platforms talking about next generation reforms. I've got the 100-day agenda ready to unveil, taken feedbacks from lakhs of citizens. So any idea what could be those things? What are the areas the work could be in?
I would simply say that Modi's asset in the manifesto, they did not promise any great new freebies. However, there is going to be a budget session coming up in July. And that in that budget session, I think a large number of statements can be made as to the kind of things they may come out with in the next 5 years. What are the kind of things they could do? One issue has been, will they amend the constitution? They have the numbers. Most states will go along with them. Will they do something dramatic? I do not think they are going to convert India into a Hindu state as some people want to. But there was this phrase in the constitution which Indira Gandhi put in during the emergency, that India is a socialist secular state. There was no need to put that in. If Mr. Modi says, let us take these words out, can you have a constitutional amendment of that kind? It's possible. I mean, it can be shown as to be an emergency excess. The fact is the constitution anyway says there shall be no discrimination on the basis of caste, religion, etc. So you may say secularism, I mean, those principles already there. What is the need to say that we are secular? Above all, what is the need to say we are socialist? So, for that to be a compulsory reason, could they amend the constitution to do that? I think the answer is yes, they may do so. The bigger issue again, will they go ahead with this national NCR, the kind of thing they did in Assam? Because Mr. Amit Shah made an indication that maybe they will do it. And that combined with the Citizen Amendment Act had extremely worried the Muslim community. Would they go ahead? I think with this kind of majority, there would be pressure within the RSS to perhaps go ahead, although I don't know whether he will do so. So that's on the political side. On the economic side, more of the same. Mr. Modi is not very much in favor of freebies. At the same time, you have a situation where various state governments are beginning to give cash grants, like shall we say in Karnataka, all women are going to be given so much cash. Already Kalia in Odisha, the people are giving 10,000 rupees. Things like that. So will there be some extension of the cash? For instance, right now there's a PM Kisan of 6,000, which has not been revised for 5 years. Could you increase that? Yes. Could you again extend that to other categories like landless labor and tenants, as is done in Kalia? I think that could be done. So I think these kinds of variations could be done. I think the Modi emphasis on, say, the poor and those people will be taken care of. I don't think it means more. I think the emphasis is that we are not going to take anything away from you in terms of the caste reservations, which was the allegation by the Congress. And I think that is the point they will emphasize. But I don't think they are going to get higher reservations because of that. The 50% ceiling for reservations has already been breached by the additional 10% for economically weaker sections. I don't think that is going to be extended further, although there is pressure from the other parties on this particular score. I think Mr. Modi will basically say, look, I promised more of the same. People have voted for more of the same. Why should I not just give more of the same? Which means no radical things. But on whatever is being done, how do I do that better? I do not think, therefore, there will be major changes in the tax rates. I do not think there will be a major change in the giveaways of various kinds. They will tweak all kinds of schemes, the Mudra scheme, the various other schemes they have, the self-employment schemes, startup schemes. I mean, on all of this, there will be an improvement, an attempt to scale up, but I do not expect any radical change.
Even, Punjab numbers are coming in. AAP and BJP are winning 4 seats each out of 13. Maharashtra too, very complex, state where the assessment was that perhaps BJP would find it difficult, but the data showed strong numbers out there as well. What are your thoughts on Punjab and Maharashtra numbers?
You're asking me?
Yes, Jaggi, this was for you.
Yeah. So I think in Punjab, AAP is definitely on the downslide, and Congress is doing much better than expected, though not maybe as much as that. The BJP is coming back with this time it's fighting first time on its own, and it's probably gaining some seats, though last time it was there with the Akali Dal. So I think there is some change happening in Punjab. That we need to. In Maharashtra, I don't think we can say anything certain, because different exit polls are giving different trends. Some are showing serious erosion in the BJP's allies, and some are showing BJP and allies doing not too badly. So I think we have to wait for both Punjab and Maharashtra to see what is going to happen. We'll have to wait till the 4th. But other states are far more clearer. Bihar, Punjab, Maharashtra, and probably Haryana will be the doubtful cases this time. We'll have to wait till the final day to see how the outcome is. But overall, as I said, because of the gains in the south and even gains that elsewhere, the BJP will hold on to most of its seats from last time. So that seems to be what the trend is.
All right, Jaggi sir, let me also ask you one more question as far as these numbers that are concerning Punjab and Maharashtra are concerned. Now, in Punjab, there were key issues regarding radical separatist Amritpal Singh, who's now lodged in a jail. There were farm protests as well, and many were thinking that that might go against the BJP in these national elections. The Prime Minister also then spoke about the drug issue as well. And there were expectations that perhaps it is the Aam Aadmi Party which will end up making a dent in the politics of Punjab. Punjab. What do you think didn't really work for the Aam Aadmi Party, or perhaps let's just say the Congress Party as a whole? Was it because Congress and Aam Aadmi Party were allying in New Delhi but were going separate ways in Punjab?
The AAP was facing some degree of anti-incumbency in the state for some time, and the fact that there are some radical parties like the Khalistani, some fringe groups, which might also be contesting, and if they would have actually damaged the Akalis a bit, because they are the logical Sikh party you would vote for in case you want a more moderate version of Sikh party there. So my guess is that both AAP and Akalis have been damaged. By Akalis because they've been in government, because the radical Sikh elements might have marginally cut into their vote. The BJP, because the old Hindu vote that used to also go to the Akalis might have retained the Hindu vote in urban areas, which is why they are making some gains on their own. Then we have the Congress, which is gaining primarily from the anti-incumbency against AAP. And the fact that, you see, Bhagwant Mann, I don't think Kejriwal is a factor in Punjab. I don't think anybody is voting for or against Kejriwal in Punjab. It is the local government that has to stand on its own performance. It has managed to raise the debts by giving freebies and things like that. I don't think economically they're going anywhere. They haven't done much. Punjab's real problem, of course, is farming, and that is where even the Modi government at the center will face its first challenge, because BJP people have not been allowed to campaign in rural areas, and the farm issue is going to become a major challenge in the next few months after it takes over, after it comes back to power for a third term. They will have to find solutions to the farm distress, not only in Punjab, but in many other parts of the country. So unless there is some kind of a package where you are able to help people move away from farming, increase the productivity there, and it can't, of course, people are demanding higher MSPs, which is unviable. What you need to do is have a way whereby you get people out of farming and try and see if they are being given jobs somewhere. So your agro industry and urbanization are key, which is where I think the big challenges are economic, are primarily in the area of creating jobs. I think on the inflation front, they've been fairly successful, but jobs are still not going. The reforms you need in factor markets are not yet there. And if the opposition loses a third time in running, there'll be no mood to cooperate in helping the BJP do these reforms. So that is where I think the problems will be in the next couple of months.
Right, sir. So a challenge really lies ahead as far as the BJP is concerned. So very important points that you've mentioned about anti-incumbency against the Aam Aadmi Party, and of course very, very clear, at least what the trends are showing, mandate about freebies really not working, because the BJP has for long attacked the Aam Aadmi Party for its alleged ravery culture. I'll have to hold on right now as we have to slip into a quick break. But ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. Our continuous coverage of exit polls continues on the other side.
Seeing the field from
polls, the mega exit polls that have come out. In fact, we have some trends coming in from states like New Delhi, Punjab, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and several of these states actually indicate a return of the BJP. We'll again have to see whether the BJP is able to cross the tally of 400 par as the Prime Minister. And of course, several leaders of the BJP have been claiming in the past few months. And of course, June 4th is the counting day. We'll have to wait and watch whether these trends actually translate into real numbers on June 4th. But of course, carrying a discussion forward with our guests tonight, Mr. R. Jagannathan, who's the editorial director at Swarajya, and of course, Swaminathan Iyer. Swami, sir, let me ask you this question, this overall question, comparing 2014 elections, 2019 and 2024. Now, in 2014, Prime Minister Modi's status was that of a political outsider who was cracking down on deep-rooted corruption, and that really won over voters who were disillusioned with the decades of dynastic politics. And then 2019, he swept the polls on a wave of nationalism after the Balakot strikes. But things have been different this time. What do you really credit this to? Is it because the Prime Minister's clear message of development, of actually inclusive development, or is it because there is a lack of leadership when you look at the opposition?
Without doubt, lack of leadership in the opposition is a major. If you had, I mean, the reason why the opposition is deathly scared about the BJP trying to change the constitution on a presidential system is they say that if there is a direct standoff between Modi and Mr. Gandhi, there will be no contest. They'll be slaughtered by Modi. Even if as I said, one of the things that they could do is to have simultaneous elections for the center and state. I mean, that is one of the major political changes that we could see in the next 5 years if there are simultaneous elections. And again, the Congress party is deathly scared that if you have simultaneous elections, Mr. Modi's stature will again result in a sweep of the BJP even for state governments. So yes, without doubt, Mr. Rahul Gandhi is a very weak candidate to put up against Mr. Modi, and there is no obvious alternative. Priyanka will not be very much better than that. So the trump card that the BJP has is Mr. Modi. As long as he is there, as long as he, if he's run over by a truck, as the saying goes, the BJP would suddenly be in serious trouble. But he's hale hearty. He's going to be there for some time. I mean, let me say this. When you see the majority with which he is winning for the third time, I would say probably he's going to win for the fourth time also in 2029. It's going to be very difficult but I mean, he'll have to really screw up very, very badly to lose the next election. So it looks as though we may have Mr. Modi 4 times in a row. Too early to say, I agree. But in terms of who is going to oppose Mr. Modi, there is just nobody.
So true. Swami, I just want to talk about that point which Jaggi made very importantly. Yes, Bihar clearly, RJD is seen winning 8 seats. BJP is seen winning much larger number out there. Bihar numbers will also come up. Okay, 31 seats BJP. But this entire matter of rural stress, be it Punjab, be it Uttar Pradesh, you can't deny the fact that there is rural stress. How do you think with this kind of numbers, indications coming in, could there be a specific area where some addressal may be done to manage the rural stress and employment, especially in tier 3, tier 4 and rural side?
Me, as I said, I would expect that the PM Kisan, which is right now restricted to farmers, could you extend that to landless labor? Could you extend that to tenants? That would be one way of trying to tackle, not only tackle the thing, but also compete with Naveen Patnaik and say that, we are not behind them. That is one way you can do it. It will not be done, I think, by sharp increases in the support price. It will not be done by any radical change like Mr. Modi tried to do on the last occasion. But above all, I would say the rural stress was due, among other things, to the fact that there was a serious El Nino last year. And while you have had this apparently 8% growth in GDP, only 1.8% in agriculture. So with a normal monsoon forecast this year, I think that would be the greatest reliever of rural stress. So if you have a good monsoon compared with last year, agriculture will probably grow by 5%. That might be the best answer rather than anything that Mr. Modi can do.
Right, so let me come back to the point that you made that of course there is a dearth of leader, there is no proper leadership as far as the opposition parties are concerned. There have been several discords as well, several differences between these parties going together in one state but not really aligning in the other states. But sir, let me also ask you about this question, Swami sir, that you pointed out about Rahul Gandhi and the fact that he really needs to resurrect himself. But what about the other leaders, Mamata Banerjee, who's been trying to pitch herself against against the Prime Minister. Then Kejriwal, especially after he came back from jail expecting some sort of a sympathy. And that was really one factor that, analysts and of course political experts on the opposition, supporting the opposition, were saying that could be a uniting factor and that could really change the game. And that really happened just about 2 weeks back.
Simply say that Mamta and Kejriwal are pygmies at the national level. I mean, there's a huge difference between being able to sweep your state and having national stature. Narendra Modi is the first chief minister who has been able to become a national leader. It has never happened before. And he has done it remarkably successfully. So I'm afraid Mamta, in fact, is going to face some anti-incumbency in trouble in holding on to Bengal itself. I imagine she might win once more, but she is on the back foot in Bengal itself. Mr. Kejriwal may do reasonably well in the coming state elections in Delhi state next year. But these cases are serious. They are not entirely trivial in the case of Delhi. So, let us see what happens. We may have a situation where the trials go forward and Mr. Kejriwal is convicted. Now, in India, people don't necessarily take conviction very seriously at the lower levels. Jayalalitha was convicted at the lower level and nevertheless won elections, which was true of Lalu Yadav too. So it may not matter too much, but it would tarnish the image of somebody who was supposed to be this great crusader for a corruption-free India. So I would say neither Mr. Kejriwal nor Mamta Banerjee are capable of mounting a challenge at the national level. In fact, at the national level, Rahul Gandhi would beat both of those quite easily. And that is a reflection on the state of the opposition.
As they say that politics is all about projection and less really about reality, we'll have to see how the Aam Aadmi Party and its trajectory in national politics really plays out over the next few months. But let's now go across to this bite and cut across to this bite coming in from Shashi Tharoor, who has spoken on exit polls. Let's take a listen.
We've all been predicting this for such a long time. What's new? I mean, I think that, very frankly, we have been traveling throughout the country campaigning. We also have a sense of what the reality is on the ground. We're very happy to wait and see what the votes actually tell us. I mean, exit polls are deeply unscientific. We all know this. I think last year, the majority of exit polls got the results wrong in Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. These things happen. I mean, so to my mind, what we are interested in is the real poll. That is the ballots, the votes of Janta Janardhan, which is going to determine our political future. So today is the first. We'll wait till the fourth, and then we can talk.
All right, so that's Congress leader Shashi Tharoor, who's contested from the Thiruvananthapuram constituency, stating that we are interested in real polls. We're interested in the real counting of numbers, really sort of dismissing exit polls, as it were. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, time for us to slip into another quick break, but don't go anywhere. Lots more coming up on the other side.
BJP is seen winning all 29 seats there. Maharashtra, of course, we told you 26 seats out of 48. Jaggi, what are your thoughts on Madhya Pradesh? Full, complete leadership there?
Yeah. I think Madhya Pradesh is BJP is going to sweep no matter what, because it's becoming something like Gujarat. Because I think it's the party in power has, except for 1.5 years between 2018 and 2019. The Congress was briefly in power, but other than that, but the BJP actually won a bigger vote share. So it's been in power for nearly 24 or 25 years, since the early 2000s. So I think, it's a very, very long-term player there. The BJP and the Sangh Parivar were actually born in Madhya Pradesh. So Madhya Pradesh will always be a very strong BJP bastion no matter what, even if it occasionally loses a few seats here and there. So Madhya Pradesh, as they say, is the next Gujarat, because with that 26 seats there and 29 seats here, the BJP will always keep winning more than 60%, at least as long as Mr. Modi is in power. Then Gujarat can change after Mr. Modi, but not before, as long as he's there. So I think Madhya Pradesh, I think they can always count on.
Swami, I wanted to talk to you about a certain issue because you do advise and a lot of FII, you understand how the FII community thinks. And I mean, they listen to you and you, of course, have a lot of line there. I want to understand FIIs have been massive sellers in India for a very long, for months at a row. It's just the local investors are putting a brave front here. And if the notes are, coming from that side, they were looking for continuity. If they do get continuity, do you think the FII flows India could reverse?
I do not think the foreign investors are expecting any change in this election. But what they are worried about is that your domestic investors have pushed up stock market prices in India to very high levels, where the valuations are looking crazy. On the other hand, there are extremely low valuations in China and Hong Kong. So I think what you are really seeing is not that they are worried about India and exiting India. What they are saying is the Indian market, I mean, thanks to these domestic investors keeping the prices high, let us do some profit taking. Get out of India and diversify into places where the price earnings ratio is half or less that of India's. So it is the diversification out of India rather than any political issue. Because I think really Indian valuations are so high. And I think right now, China is a very big buying opportunity for them. Those stocks got so beaten down very, very badly. So I think that's what's happening. The guys are not afraid of India. They do not think that Modi is going to go on the wrong course. But they do say, look, when the valuations are so high here and so low in other places, in Russia, for instance, I mean, the valuations are beaten down to nothing. And I mean, it's one thing if you don't like Mr. Putin politically, but in terms of economics, I would say that investing in Russian shares today would probably be a very good deal at very, very low valuations. So that I think is what's happening. They are diversifying out of India, not leaving India, and they will come back in due course, but they will always now worry about valuations.
In fact, I mean, just the valuation argument, we saw some money going to China coming out of. So it's about valuation, not about political leadership. But I'll take closing comments from Sandeep Sabharwal also, veteran fund manager and a contributor on ET Now Network. Sandeep, you've seen the early trends coming in. Your assessment on how market would read and react to this, even though exit polls are just a direction and a flavor, not a scientific data. But still, what should we expect from market on Monday? Sandeep? Sandeep, can you hear us? All right, Sandeep will try and connect with him once again. But closing comments, Jaggi, you do track economy and markets a bit, not very closely markets, but economy for sure. Do you think market will take it with open hands?
There is no unwelcome surprise in these elections. Okay, the BJP may be a 5 or 10 seats up or down here and there, but the dispensation is going to be the same and there is going to be no drastic thing. So markets prefer stability to unnecessary, unexpected change. So that will be fine. The other thing, I mean, I was actually wanted to add to what Swami was saying. I think one is while our valuations are high, I think one of the reasons why the FPIs and FIIs might not be so keen to invest is I think interest rates in the US are still very high. I mean, even 2-year money is more than 4.5%. That in a safe haven currency is a very high rate of return, you know. So I think they will probably invest as much in US debt as anywhere else. So I think my guess is that I think they will sort of wait and watch for a year or two till but our SIPs are too strong. In the last 3 years, we have domestic money of $60 billion has been coming through SIPs, you know, just in the last 3 years, and 20,000 crore every month. So we are going to be held aloft by our own money.
Sandeep is here with us. Sandeep, I'm not sure you heard my question. I want to understand your take on how market would read the early trends from the exit poll.
I think, Ajay, what's happening is that across the board, the exit polls, which have been done by different companies, different channels, reflect that the current government is likely to stay, and with a similar majority plus minus 10-20 seats, which I think is good for the markets overall. And the big risk was that if there is some uncertainty, we could get a sell-off. So continuity at the current valuations helps incrementally, in the sense that the outlook for the equity market will continue to remain constructive for the next 3 to 4 years. So then we are back to basics, trying to buy stocks at the valuations at which we like them.
Right. Swami sir, let me come to you for our closing comments. I'm being told that we're completely out of time. So final closing comments on the M issue. I mean, this election has been fraught with several M's. The Mangal Sutra, Machli, media and a whole lot of M's, including Mahila. In fact, what we're also being told by some of the brokerages is that for the BJP, it is the Mahila factor that's going to be the real differentiating factor, along with several other factors, including its food grain policy, along with Mahila Samman Nidhi, and of course the banning of triple talaq has in some way really aided to the consolidation of BJP votes. So if you could comment your final comments on the Mahila M this election.
Mr. Modi's comment on Mangal Sutras being snatched away in order to help people who have more children, that particular thing was clearly a communal remark. It had nothing to do with economic policy in general, except you can say it was kind of slap at the entire notion of leftist socialist policies. Yet on the other hand, he himself has taken all the Congress welfare schemes and implemented them even better than the Congress did. I mean, the food security thing which the Congress started, he has now taken and made it free. He has expanded Manrega. He has expanded the Awas scheme. So in various ways, he is not snatching Mangal Sutras away, but he is certainly helping the poor. He is certainly distributing. As far as the women thing is concerned, I would not be surprised if he does something like the Mahalakshmi scheme in Karnataka. I mean, if you are going to be giving money, there is now a general trend of what about having cash grants, especially now that most people have a bank account. So can you think of giving a certain amount just to women? I think the answer is they would consider that. It is a possibility. It will compete with the Congress vote scheme in Karnataka. It could be justified on the question of helping rural distress. And it could be helped on the ground that if the economy is booming and doing so well, surely we should be doing some distribution also. Surely there should be the Janta getting some gain out of it. So I would not be surprised if there is a specific cash grant given to women. That could well be what the direction Modi goes in. He will attempt to get that same thing in various other schemes, I think, like entrepreneurs, startups. He would like to see whether it's possible to spin up these schemes in favor of women to the extent possible. So let us see. I mean, he has done so well that he doesn't have to go for anything radical. But yes, he has often emphasized the female thing, and he could give concrete cash shape to it in these next 5 years.
Yes, sir. In fact, that's also something that the Congress party, particularly Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, has also mentioned. We'll have to wait and see whether this Mahila push of the BJP continue. With that, it's a wrap on this special edition of ET Now's Exit Poll coverage, viewers. Thanks very much, Jaggi sir, Swami sir, and of course, Ajay sir from our Bombay studios. It's been amazing having you all, as always. Now, all eyes on June 4th. And who really gets to form the government on June 4th? Will it be a hat-trick for the BJP or a revival for the Congress party? We'll have to wait and watch. Several exit polls really stating a bullish show for the BJP, clearly showcasing perhaps that the Modi wave is very much intact. We'll have to wait and watch how that really plays out on June 4th. Meanwhile, it's time's up from us. Thank you very much for staying with us.